Welcome to day 10 of the 12 Days of Command. Yesterday I introduced you to the Opportunities applet where you can manage all of your transactions and track them through your pipeline. Today we'll be continuing with Opportunities, but we'll be taking a look at the Documents tab, DocuSign, and Document Management, where you can store and organize all of your files and then submit them to the office for compliance review. Let's take a look. Yesterday I showed you how to create an opportunity, and we left off right here on the Documents tab. So that's what we're continuing with today, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can upload documents, submit them to the office, and navigate the file review process. So in day 1, I showed you where to connect your DocuSign account or create it if you haven't already, and I also reviewed the Marketplace, which is where you can go to download the connection for .loop. Now, once you've done those things and connected your e-signature program, whichever one you're using, you'll see this button here that says Start a Transaction. And when you click this, it is going to open a new tab in your e-signature program, regardless if it's DocuSign or .loop. It will prompt you to log in just for security purposes. So as you can see, I'm now in my DocuSign room, and a room is just essentially a folder within your DocuSign account that corresponds to the opportunity you created in Command. So you can see here the name of my room is 12345 Main Street, and if I pop back to Command for a second, you'll see that's the exact same name as my opportunity. So these two systems are now connected, and any documents I add in here, I'll also be able to pull into Command very easily, and I'll show you that a bit later on in this video. To actually send documents for signature, you're going to go to the Envelopes tab. It's a little bit corny, but if you think of regular mail, you can't just put paper in a mailbox. You have to put it in an envelope in order to send it. You can also think of this as you're creating an email when you create an envelope, attaching those documents and sending them for signature. So you will create multiple envelopes throughout the life of a transaction anytime you're sending a new document for signature. So I'm not going to run through the full process of sending documents through DocuSign just in the interest of time, but I'm going to refresh this just so you can see what it looks like once documents have been sent and completed. So you can see here we now have an envelope for our listing docs, and it says completed. And if we head back to the Documents tab, you're going to see all of the documents we added into that envelope. So you'll notice each document has a little icon in the bottom right of the preview, and it either says signed or PDF. So when you see signed, you know that is the completed and signed version. The PDF version is the original one that you uploaded that has no signatures on it. So it is important to pay attention to that to make sure when you are uploading documents that you're using the signed version and not the original. So now that our documents are signed, let's head back to Command and take a look at how to actually upload them and send them to the office. So you'll see over on the right that it no longer says Start a Transaction, it says Go to Transaction. And so this is now your link into that DocuSign room. Now on the left-hand side, our next step is to pick our checklist type. And the best part about using Command is that it creates a checklist for you so you know what you need to upload for that file. So you'll see here we have 3 checklists. We have standard, and that is if you are in Nova Scotia and listing a property. The commercial checklist is for our commercial team. So even if you as an agent are listing a commercial property, you're still going to choose standard. Commercial, again, is only for our KW commercial advisors. PEI is for our PEI agents. So we'll choose standard just for simplicity here. And once you choose that checklist type, you'll see 3 separate checklists be created down here. Listed, under contract, and closed. So listed for a listing is going to be all of your agency documents and anything pertaining to the listing of that property. So as you come over to the list here in the middle, you have a list of all the different documents that you may or may not need to upload. And this requirement status is going to indicate whether it is required, or if it's conditional, that just means that if it exists and it's applicable to that transaction, you will need to upload it. So FINTRAC, for example, is mostly always required unless the seller is a bank or a church. So that's why it's marked conditional, because there are some scenarios where you would not need to complete a FINTRAC. So just pay attention to that. If it's conditional, you're going to need to assess whether that document exists for your deal or not. So we've got this list of all the different documents we may or may not need to add, and now we just need to add them. So you can see up here at the top, this is already set to attach files from DocuSign because Command knows that I started a transaction and have linked this to my DocuSign room. However, when I click this drop down here, I cannot actually click this, it is grayed out. And you'll notice when I hover over it, it says I need to select the working folder to add files. Within DocuSign, you can create folders to organize your documents within a room, but 9 times out of 10, you're always going to choose room docs here unless you are going in and creating additional folders. So it does require you to choose the room docs folder, and then you notice this is no longer grayed out. I can select it, and I have a list of all the different documents that were in that DocuSign room. So first is my working with a realtor, and I have 2 versions of that, working with the real estate industry.pdf, and then I have one that's signed.pdf. So you always want to choose the signed version. Like I said, you're going to have the originals and the signed versions in your DocuSign room, so just make sure you're paying attention to that. Continue with the same thing, seller designated, and my input form. Now, these documents are attached. I did not need to download them out of DocuSign and then upload them here. Because the 2 systems are connected, they pull directly in. I just need to tell Command which document goes on which placeholder. So once we've added all the documents that need to be submitted, all I have to do is come up here and click Submit to MC. Now this is a really important step. Think of it like the send button on an email. If you do not click Submit to MC, we are not going to receive that. Before I click Submit, you'll see our status is open, which indicates to you that it is not submitted yet. It is open. You've just started adding some things. So once we click Submit to MC here, it will require you to confirm that. And now you can see the status has changed to submitted, and it will also show this over on the left beside your listed checklist. So submitted this to the office, Michaela is going to review it, and then she's going to either approve it if everything's good to go, or she's going to return it to us. As you can see, this no longer says submitted, it says returned, which means that Michaela sent it back to us, indicating that something was wrong with the paperwork or we're missing something that needs to be there. So as you scroll down in the documents, just pay attention to this status column. That's where you're going to see which documents were returned. So you can see instead of uploaded, this one says returned, and that is my input form. Now if I hover over this little red bubble, it will tell me exactly what's wrong with that document. It's missing a signature at the bottom of page 4. We also have another document with the status of missing, which means I didn't upload it and the office has indicated that that is a required document. So now that we know what's wrong and what's missing, now we have to update the file. So we have our input form here. Maybe I uploaded the wrong version, that's why it's not signed. Whatever the case is, you're going to locate the correct version, whether it's in your DocuSign or on your computer. Come over to the button with the 3 dots right beside the document name and click Update. If it's in DocuSign, this will default, and you can scroll down and find the correct document. You can also change this to My Computer if you have it on your computer somewhere. So I've updated that. You can see this no longer says returned, it says updated, which indicates that you've replaced the document. The next one down is FinTrack, which is missing. And I don't have this in DocuSign because it's not something that we sign. So typically you'll have that saved on your computer. So you're just going to come up to where we're attaching the files from and change this to My Computer. Now, instead of a drop-down, we have a Browse button, and you're just going to browse wherever you have that document saved on your computer. Okay, so we've uploaded our FinTrack. So we've updated all of the documents and added ones that are missing, and now we need to come up and click Resubmit to MC, because that's how we are indicating to the office that we've fixed the problem and we're sending it back to them. So we've resubmitted our listing, we're just waiting for the office to look it over and make sure that everything is approved. So I'm just going to refresh the page here. And now you can see the status is approved. That just means there's no further action required on your end. Everything you submitted has been approved. So now let's say it's been a couple of weeks and we now have an accepted offer on our listing. In this opportunity, you are going to then click on Under Contract, just below Listed, and you'll see we have another checklist with some different documents. So we have Agreement of Purchase and Sale, Counter Offer, etc. And now you need to upload the sale documents to submit so that the office can start to process that. Again, the listed checklist is just for your agency documents and anything pertaining to the listing. We don't go into under contract until you have an accepted offer. So if you get an offer and you don't accept it, you don't need to upload that here. It is just the accepted ones. So with my accepted offer, I have an agreement of purchase and sale and a counter offer. I'm going to upload those. And it's important to note that there is a separate placeholder for each one, so they do need to be separate documents. You can't have them merged all into one PDF. They do need to be separate. So normally you would go and split that PDF and then upload it. However, there's now an option in Command that you can split and attach the PDF. So I have the combined document on my computer, and I'm going to go up here to these three dots and click Split and Attach PDF. I'm going to browse my computer here, and I'll click Next. So as you can see, we have 4 pages here. The first 3 are my agreement of purchase and sale, and the last one is my counter offer. So to split these up and attach them to my checklist, on the right-hand side, you're going to choose which placeholder you're attaching the document to first, which is our agreement of purchase and sale, which is pages 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to write 1 to 3 on the page range, and I'm going to name it APS. Then I need to attach the counter offer, so I'll click Attach More Pages, Counter Offer, which is page 4, and I'll call this Counter. You can do this with as many documents as you need. If your entire deal is in one document, that's fine. You're just going to keep attaching more pages and placing them on the placeholders. So once you have it all split up, you click Split and Attach Selected. You'll see document is successfully split, and then they'll start to appear here. It does take a few seconds. And there we go. So our document is split up. You will notice over here on the left-hand side, we have a folder now called Split and Attached Uploads, which stores the original as well. Trade record sheet is here. I can browse and upload that too. And then again, we have a whole list of things that you may or may not need to upload. Things like taxes, heating costs, location certificate, etc. And that just depends on the way your deal is written. Now, if you don't submit these from the beginning, the office will go in and mark them missing when you submit the deal the first time. So you'll always know what is required of you. But you may run into a scenario where you need to add a document that's not in this list. A good example is an amendment. We have 2 placeholders for amendments, but if this is going on for any period of time, you may have more than 2 amendments. So let's say you've already filled in these 2 here. I'll just put my random documents. So I already have my 2 amendment spots, and now I have a 3rd amendment. So I'm going to go up to the top again and click those 3 dots again, but this time we're going to choose Add Document. I can give it a name, maybe it's amendment number 3. Document type is amendment, and then we'll browse for that file. So you can always add additional documents. You're not just bound by the placeholders that we've put in here. We've just tried to make it as comprehensive as possible without being overwhelming and having too many documents to fish through and figure out what you need to upload. So just the very basic things are here, and then we'll mark anything missing if there is something else you need to submit. The next important thing to know is how you communicate with the office and how the office will communicate with you. And this is through the Add Comment button. You'll have it on both checklists right here that says Add Comment. You can type a message like this, and anyone that can see your opportunity can see it, which if you're an individual agent, that's you, the admin staff, and the brokers. And if you're on a team, it is you, your rainmaker of the team, any team members you've added as an assignee, like another agent or an administrator, and then also the brokers and admin staff. So when they come into this opportunity, they'll be able to see your message. However, they did not get notified that you said it. In order to send a notification with your message, you have to type the @ symbol. Once you type the @ symbol, you will get a list of all of the people that are available for you to tag. It might be a broker, it might be Lynn if this is about the deal. Maybe you're letting her know that this is firm. You're going to want to tag her in that message because then she gets a notification, she knows that you've sent it, and she'll see it in a timely manner. If you don't tag, Again, we don't get notified, we don't know that you said anything, and we're not going to see it unless we have another reason to be going into this opportunity. So always make sure to tag someone in your message, and there is a reminder up here at the top if you ever forget. When the office sends you a message, we are also going to tag you, and so you'll get a notification in Command. So your notifications are up here on this bell icon, and you can see I have a few here. So we got our compliance event returned, so that was the first time it was reviewed, that was sent back to us. Then it was approved when they looked it over and everything was good. And then I got a notification that my documents were split. Okay, so these notifications will show up here. And then you will also get a notification on your phone if you have the Command app downloaded. The last thing I want to show you is a scenario that hopefully won't happen too often, but it will happen, and that's if a deal terminates. So we have our listing, we got an accepted offer, and then for whatever reason, that deal is terminated. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find the termination spot, and that's where you're going to upload your termination. Just pretend this is a termination. So we've uploaded our termination and resubmit it to the office. So hopefully later on you will get an accepted offer again, and you're going to need to upload that in here, but you don't want to overwrite the deal that's already in here because that does still need to be reviewed by the brokers. So we need to create a new checklist, which is very simple. All you have to do is come up to Under Contract right here, click Add Version. It will default it to be named Under Contract Version 2. You can name it whatever you want. That helps you differentiate this one from the original. And then click Create New Version. Now you can see there's no documents uploaded here. This checklist is completely blank. However, if I click on Under Contract V2 now, I can bounce back and forth. So I can always switch between the new one and the old one. It just gives us that clean, fresh checklist to upload the new deal so nothing gets messed up. So that's a very brief overview of submitting paperwork and the compliance process. I will put a link in the email below just to a full-length training of this process, which does show the agent side as well as the office, so you can kind of understand how we see things and how that translates on your side. In tomorrow's video, we'll be going over a few of the final applets in here, which include the tasks, referrals, and reports, before we dive into the Command mobile app the next day. See you then.